All right, fellas, let me see if anybody's in here. All right, looks like nobody is in here, but gonna go ahead and get started. Gonna start off with same thing as always, market conditions, and probably gonna do a little more in depth this time on the market condition piece, and then we'll go over the the some other plays we can do for the week that I have up there, but pretty much those are pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward, so I don't think we have to uh, go over those too much. But what we do have to go over is the market conditions because those have changed since last time. So let's jump right into it then. All right. So let me. Oh shit. So let me change this chart over here. Doesn't want to move. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. All right. All right, so market conditions. Oh wait, this is Tesla. Let's go to QQQ. SPY. So from those two, we remember that QQQ is the one that is leading the way to the downside. So this is probably the name that we want to play when we don't have clarity on any other names, or at least that's what I like to do. So here we go. We're gonna mark this from bottom to top. COVID drop to our bounce, bounce highs, and you can see that we're at the we're not at the 38%, but we went up to the 38% retracement, 315, and there was a support right around that area. So what do we usually call this? We call this a support resistance flip. So it used to be a support. So right around this one over here, this blue line, 316. You guys remember that level, right? 316 turned into a support, into a resistance. So that's what we got this week confirmed because you see this weekly candle. It's already going down from the last one right there. So this week's candle is a lot lower than last week. So we've got a downtrend, another weekly downtrend, and it confirms if we break this our recent lows, so 280-ish. All right, so if we break 280-ish, we're confirming our weekly downtrend is continuing, right? All right, so pretty straightforward there. 38%, and then now we're down here at our 50% retracement is 286. All right, so in comparison, SPY is a little stronger, I think. I could be wrong on that, but pretty sure. So yeah, I think right away you can see it. This is not half of not 50% of the bounce, right? Hasn't given up 50% of the bounce. So for SPY, we're at 38%, right? So this could still be bullish on the weekly, right? But it's not. It's a downtrend, weekly downtrend. Um, but it's a little stronger than QQQ is pretty much what I'm trying to say. So so for shorts, we're gonna be looking at QQQ for the most part. I mean, SPY could always obviously drop. It's like correlated. It's in a downtrend, but QQQ downtrend, um, downtrend at 50%. Let's look at some of the other sectors. SMH, see where those are at. SMH is semiconductors. So I'm just trying to figure out where we can find other opportunities that are maybe better. So this one had this wedge and it broke out of it. This still could be trying a reversal. So we'll see if this 214 or whatever level that is can hold. From low to high, this is at 38% as well. Well, maybe more like 40, 42% or something. All right, so this is like kind of middle of the road. Not as strong as SPY, but not as weak as QQQ. It did lead the bounce when we did bounce. All right, let's take a look at ARC. This will be our growth along with IWM. So ARC is leading the way down pretty much because it's already back down to so you see here here's the fib. It's already down like almost 100% from from those COVID lows. So it's almost back down to 33. All right, so let's see. So after 33, there's no supports really. There's these other ones down here. Probably not really clear. Maybe 27.50 and then down here at 20 bucks. All right, so ARC is definitely on leading the way down compared to like SPY and QQQ, but we we kind of already knew that, right? Just by seeing like all the names that are in ARC, like I don't know, all the shitty names. All right, so IWM. For IWM, I like this gap down here at 165. So this is also growth. Um, and in terms of a bounce, we're probably, you know, looks about 50% from what I can see here. Let's mark it. All right, 38%. Yeah, we bounced right at the 50. And then, so what I'm showing you guys all these fibs for, so is if we get under that 50%, we're definitely looking to get to this next level for sure, 100%. So that gives us the opportunity, for example, on this, if we were to break that 170, you see how it bounced perfectly on the 170. So we can expect this to retest 170, 50% retracement. If it doesn't work out, then for sure, I think 100%, not 100%, 99.8% it's gonna come to this 150, right? So that's why I'm trying to gauge to see how much room we have to catch a move. All right, so on QQQ, if we cross this 50% 280 level, then I think for sure 99.8, because anything can happen, right? They might announce another free money giving spree, but that's pretty doubtful. I think this can get to 260 for sure, 99.8% at least at the minimum. All right, so that's why I'm looking at these fibs. So that gives us a gauge of where we can get to 260. That would be my goal for this month, or probably this month, or maybe even this week. We can get down to 260 sometime during this month, though. Can get down to 260. So now we got to zoom in, see what's happening on the lower time frames. And if anybody has any questions, drop them in the chat. As always, I think I got a few already. Oh, let me go over XLV first. So we went over SMH, ARC. I think, yeah, I think XLV had a same pattern across the board, across like a lot of names. So here is this pattern right here, this little bear flag, if you will, broke down. And I think a lot of names that I've been seeing have the same pattern. So anything under 124 is going to be a nice downtrend starting right there on the daily. On the maybe on the weekly, let's see the weekly. So this has been pretty strong for the most part. With COVID and everything, they're making a lot of money in the healthcare sector. And you see this is getting a little toppy right there, 125. So this is probably the last sector that was like holding up the market really nicely. So let's do our fib again. Fib again. It's at 23, so really healthy. But if it starts falling down under, we can expect it to get to like 116 on XLV health sector. And this chart right here, if you look at any health sector name, it's probably gonna correlate. So XLV, you can take a look at UNH on the same time frame, and it's probably gonna look exactly the same or similar-ish. All right, so looks a little similar, but it's obviously a little stronger than XLV. I think my computer is struggling with all these like chart changes. All right, so yeah, same thing. We're at 23% retracement. If we get under 267, we'll confirm the first. Let me see. Let me look at the chart. The first weekly downtrend, I think. So that means lower highs and lower lows. Lower high, lower low. So like here we made a lower low, but then we made a higher high. Here we made a lower low, lower high. So yeah, I think this will be the first time we confirm a lower low and lower high. Lower low and lower high, yeah. So that'll be that. Let's see what else we can look at. I think for us, we're probably gonna just play the QQQ sector for the most part. Maybe Bitcoin. Bitcoin is pretty clear. Anything under the last low is gonna be a huge win for the bulls. So so market conditions looking pretty bad. Um, but we already knew that QQQ leading the way from between SPY and QQQ, that's leading the way. Growth is obviously way weaker. and then XOV being the strongest along with like energy. XOV and energy are the strongest names right now. So we're gonna look to play the weaker names. So QQQ, anything in IWM, ARC, any names that correspond to those sectors. All right. So, all right, let's take a look at QQQ. Let me delete this fib. We already got our levels there from the fib. So we had a big gap down, and on Friday I was looking for a bounce, which we never got. And I think the reason for that is everyone's pretty much on one side of the boat. Everyone's figured out that, economy is complete shit. And the other thing was it was Friday, so no one's trying to hold positions over the weekend. So no point of getting in there. So maybe that's why we didn't really get much of a bounce. We got a little bit of a bounce during the end of the day, but not really what I was expecting. All right, so for QQQ, what am I expecting on 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 Monday? I'm expecting us to either one of two things is going to happen. We're going to bounce or we're going to gap down again. We've got a lot of bear flags confirming at the end of the day, but we did get some news about Tesla. They're splitting their stock again. I'm sorry, fellas. They're splitting their stock again, so that might be bullish for Tesla at least, and get a nice little push to the upside. What I'm seeing right here on the 1 hour though is we got a 1 hour resistance there, and we just created another one at the end of the day um, on Friday, and it's already breaking down. So what this would need to turn into is a 1 hour reversal for us to go up a little higher. And then we're looking back at the daily. So we're going to identify where's the daily support. Daily resistance is up at all right, so I'm just seeing hit this for like I didn't like kind of prepare for the video, but this could actually end up turning into a sideways pattern, right? If we get a bounce tomorrow, tomorrow's Monday, right? Tomorrow, this could end up being a sideways pattern for some time. All right, the only way it'll be confirmed is if we get all the way down here, start breaking towards that 260. That's what I would like to see. But if we get a bounce Monday, because we're super extended on everything, super extended on not on the daily. So the daily still has room to go, but the hourly super extended, 4 hour, everything. So actually, I'm not sure about the 4 hour. Let's see the 4 hour. And I don't know if the video is skipping, but my app is saying to slow it down a little bit. That's weird. All right. Yeah, so we're oversold 4 hour, 1 hour. Every time frame under the 4 hour is oversold. So I'm thinking we're gonna get a bounce soon. Didn't happen on Friday, probably because of the reasons that I explained. So like it being Friday, um, everyone had just gotten out of a position, so why would they get back into calls? Um, so those are the main reasons. But I think we're due for a bounce. So I'd like to see that gap fill. And I guess if we bounce, we might be looking at a tightening range. All right. The other scenario is we gap down one more time. and then maybe do some kind of a little relief bounce down here at 280. All right, hold it for a little while. So if we gap down, little relief bounce back up to the, let's see, maybe the last 1 hour, and then finally bring it down again. We got the Fed on Wednesday, so maybe we'll bounce until Wednesday and then, have another shit show then. So I'd like to see that gap fill for me. Um, I mean, gaps don't always have to fill, but I think I think on QQQ at least they've been filling pretty nicely. Let's see if we got any gaps in here. Let's check for gaps. Yeah, there's no gaps. Oh, there's a couple up here that we didn't fill. 350, 360. So like right here, two gap downs, and then we kind of bounced back to that 1 hour support or that daily support. I mean resistance, and then back down. So that's what I would rather see. I'd rather see another gap down, another gap down, come back here, retest this level, and then shoot back down. So that's what I want to see. I don't want to see, I'd rather not see a bounce here, because then that'll have me thinking this is a tightening range, not interested in playing calls from now on, which I shouldn't have been interested in playing calls up here, but we had those like EMA crossovers coming into play, a lot of signs pointing to the upside, but there was still a lot of signs to the downside as well. So you see it was starting to curl, and now it's curling back down again. So yeah, overall, I think I want to see a gap down on Monday. And then let's go over BTC. This is going to be part of our trading plan for the next week. We got this level down here, 28,400, which we crossed now, what, 2 times? Crossed that bad boy 2 times, and then we're crossing it this weekend. But as you can see, this wick is like super bullish looking for now. It hasn't closed yet on the daily, but it's looking bullish as of right now. And this is kind of just going sideways. We did confirm daily downtrend. Um, then maybe hopefully we get a little bounce, support resistance flip to 29,100 and start coming back down this way. Anything under 25K will be super bearish. 25,400 will be super bearish. And I think this is where this is going for Bitcoin. Let's see where we were at during the COVID dump. COVID dump. We were at 3,800. So for me, it's not crazy to think. Even you can see it on the chart right here, super clear on the monthly monthly chart. Super clear. We got a support right there. This is the most important support for Bitcoin. If it once it breaks this 2,500 level, which it already so 28,600 level, it already broke it once. Trying to bounce, but it's super weak. If it gets back under that 25K, this is gonna flush like nothing else. All right, so you can see clearly we've been trading up here above 28,600 for a whole year, year and a half or something. So if it gets back down, I could expect it down here at 17K, even 10K. So so that's what I'm looking at there. And then for our plays for the week, one of them is Coinbase, so we'll just jump in straight to that. All right, 1 second, fellas. I'm gonna get a little halls because my throat is killing me. Ah, shit, I lost it. I don't know where it's at. All right. So we'll go into Coinbase. All right, so Coinbase, I've been looking at this one for a long time. All right, we had a head and shoulders up there on the, so I'll keep it here on the monthly. So right now we are at a 78% retracement from that support to zero, right? Zero to where it started, to support. We're at 78%. It bounced from that kind of level, 40 to $45, and it's on the final leg down. So this is going to be last leg down from 40 and down, from 40 and under. All right, so there's no more. So you see here, it's probably been bouncing at these 23, 38% retracements. I'll put it back on the one day so you guys can see this. So those blue lines are pretty much corresponding to like 38% retracement, 50% retracement, and it's kind of been bouncing at those levels. 78% was down here at 45, kind of bounced there. All right, so the final level is zero, right? So you guys see this on the left side, 78%, 50%, it bounced right there. 38, kind of little bounce, and then 23% was the first one where it kind of bounced more. All right, so another major level is right here. It's breaking it to the downside with the head and shoulder, dick and ball pattern. So on Monday, if we break down from this a little further, I definitely want to get into it, but there is a gap. So I'd like that gap to fill first. That would be my preference. But this Coinbase, this is super clear to me. This is going down 100%, not even 99.8, 100%. I know this is going down, so we're gonna play this one for sure next week. If it's not tomorrow, it's gonna be at some other point. We're gonna see if we can fill this gap. Let me see where it's at. 68.76. So, oh, not 68, 63.76. So like $5, right? $5 move to the upside. But I don't think it's gonna go up on Monday, to be honest. So this is probably gonna gap down again. Gap down maybe to 52. So we'll see where we get in. If anything, maybe we can play some further out puts. Maybe so we want to catch the most of this move. So ideally we would have gotten on Friday around 60. So that gives us $20 of gains we can make here for sure. Like 100% sure from 60 to 40 and possibly more. So that would have been a good one to get into on Friday, I guess. Um, but now that we're not in, we need to be more selective of when we get in, or either that or buy time, right? So if we buy time, probably be in a little pain for a while. But I think this for sure is going down, like Amazon, like the play from Thursday on Amazon. Like I knew that was pretty much for sure going down. So Coinbase, that's the main one I want to catch uh, coming into next week. So Coinbase, let's look at it on the hourly. You can see it has a little bear flag as well. Probably most likely going to break down over the weekend. Gap down, probably down close to 52. Um, but if it gaps down like maybe 55, we can try to catch it down to 52. So for a scalp only, and then position ourselves to get a good solid play that we can hold for like a week or two or even a month for this to play out to the downside. All right, so on the 1 hour, pretty much 60.24 is going to be our 1 hour resistance. There's one small one at 64. And then we've got our big ones back here at 70 bucks. So 70 bucks, 60 bucks. I think it'll stay under 60 bucks for sure. And a gap down Monday is what I'm predicting from what I see on Bitcoin. Uh, so we'll try to get into this as soon as possible, as safely as possible. But I think this is going to be a really good one for us for the month, for the year. All right, from that, let's go to Adobe. This is Adobe. This is you guys know Adobe, right? It's PDFs, whatever. I don't know what else they do. That's all I know them for, PDFs. I guess you can say it's a software company, right? So this would kind of fall into QQQ, probably kind of territory. SPY. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what funds it's in, but it's looking bearish to me. All right, so on the daily, you can see it has this little increasing wedge pattern, aka could also be a bear flag, but it's breaking down. All right, you can, what the, all right, let me delete that. It's pretty much a rising wedge. So rising wedge means bull breaks, no follow through until the bears show up. All right, so it's been getting, little break here, another little break, and then finally broke down. So for this one, I'd like the gap to fill on all the names, but realistically, I don't know if that can happen. So we might need to just do leap of faith. But I think for me, I'm gonna be patient tomorrow for sure, um, because we are super extended on all the time frames. So I want to see a bounce, a little bit of a bounce. Um, and since I'm not looking for calls, I'm eliminating the calls portion of it. Like, I'm not looking at calls, even if we go up. Definitely not looking at calls. So I'm trying to catch. I know this can go down to 370. So I'm trying to position myself where I can get like 390 calls for super cheap, right? So that, let's say 390 calls are, I don't know what the prices are, right? Because I'm not looking at the chain. But if I can get 390 calls, for example, I know those can print 20 bucks down here at 370, right? So if I get them at $2, that's a good deal. Or at whatever price under $20, right? Um, so you're just trying to maximize that contract. It can get to 20, so buy it as cheap as possible. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. Um, so I'll probably be looking at 390s, maybe 400s. If this comes up to what 420 uh, during the beginning of the week, that would be ideal. So we can get those 400s for cheap. I think this can break down, and then has earnings on Thursday. I think for sure this is going to be a dump. So I looked at the last four earnings. So last one was a dump. The one before that was a dump. The one before that was also a dump. So one, two, three. And then this one was a pump. One of them was a pump. So one, two, three, four. 3 out of 4 were a dump. And then I guess before that we were still bullish in the market at this point. So I think no matter what, if we're bearish on the market, so you can see these earnings on this side were um, bullish reactions. So all of their earnings are green, but they're not really like anything impressive. 50. half a percent or like a quarter, 3% surprise. They're not really like impressive, like wow, they're making huge gains or anything, right? So I think as long as the market stays bearish, uh, I'm playing this one for sure for earnings. And this is more of a risky play. So if you guys don't feel good about it, whatever, then that's fine. But um, I think if we can get a good price, this can print that 20 bucks on like 390 Ps or 400 Ps. Can print a nice 20 bucks, right, for us. So that's 2K per contract. If we get them cheap, you could make some money during the day and then hold some. So so your risk is a little lower. So I'm definitely getting into this, guys. Adobe, and hopefully it plays out and everybody's with me, and that'll be good. Another name that I've been watching is Shop. This one would have also been a good one for Thursday, Friday, but overall, I still think it looks pretty good. So I think my main plays are Adobe for next week, Adobe and Coin for sure. And the other thing I forgot to mention about Coinbase is Bitcoin is um, kind of lagging behind the SPY and QQQ. So I think it's doing the like dumps later after QQQ. So that's one thing to note. It's not really correlated right away with QQQ. So for shop, we got this little triangle pattern. This is still probably the one I should have got into when I saw Amazon dropping, because this is like mini Amazon, but like way worse, right? Way worse company. So we were right around 370, and I told you guys 350 was a level to go to next. Went down there, and then the next one is maybe around 330, 316, pretty much 300, low 300s. So I think it can go down there on Monday, and if it gets a break, I think there's a gap at 280, and then we got all the way to like I think there's a level at 250. But yeah, 300, 280. I think this can drop down pretty fast from what you can see over here. Like we have this same little thing going on over here. Consolidation. Oh, that was a shitty drawing. Little triangle pattern like that, and then we broke from what 685 all the way down to pretty much straight line all the way to oh no, 550. So 100 bucks broke down. And then right here we had a little bear flag, so we broke down from 614 straight line down to 413, so like 200 bucks. So these levels that I drew here might seem crazy, but looking back, they're not crazy at all. This could dump really hard down to like 250, I think. 350 to 250. That's what I'm thinking. So if you want to get into shop, I think this is good. Maybe 300 puts, but hopefully a little gap fill, and we can get some better prices for the options. So for the weekly view, let's see. So there's that 280 level, nice strong support. That's why I drew it. Let me delete this real quick. Da, 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 da. All right, so there is that level. Well, I guess that's where it bounced 300 level, right? So 300 would be the first one, then 280 definitely possible, and then it's kind of thin right there. Not many really strong supports until 190. So I think definitely 250 would be the goal for Shopify. 280, 250, 300, 280, 250. So that's what I'm thinking for Shop. maybe gap fill, hopefully Monday. Um, and then let's look at the COVID retracement. Oh, it's already 100%. So, so that's the other risky thing. It's already retraced like everything from the COVID dump. But I do think we are kind of at a worse place than when we were at COVID. So I actually think in like real life, what's happening in real life compared to digital trading life, this should really be down to 190 maybe, I don't know. Like that's the way I think about it. Like in real life, has Shopify been doing better? And I think the answer is no, right? So this is just fake. This this is just pump and dump to me. When I think about it, shop, shitty company, pump and dump. All right. Um, so what's the other one? Netflix. Netflix. See, yeah, even Netflix I think is a better company than Shop. At least people like pay money to watch Netflix. Not that people don't use Shopify, but um, definitely consider Netflix a better company. And look how this one's doing. So this one already retraced what? So this could be like an example that we use for for Shopify, right? So this is already retraced beyond the COVID thing, CVID, because I think YouTube doesn't like that word. They're gonna flag me for misinformation, bro. I don't want to get flagged. I already got flagged like 5 times. 230. So 230 was no, 250 was the COVID lows, right? And this has already retraced more than that. So 100 and I don't know, 120%. So I think that's where shop should be going. 120% retracement. So retrace all the way back down here, right? So hopefully, we can get into shop at a nice price in that wedge still, and then wait for it to break down to the downside. And hopefully they announce something like, oh, our earnings are going to be shot for the next year. That would just, that would be perfect. That would make our whole year's worth of gains right there. All right, so so there's that. Netflix is looking the same, looking like it wants to go down a little more. Same little triangle pattern on the daily. Let's look for some supports, some targets. So here's one target I can see right around 150. So I think 150 psychological is a nice one. And then we've got 80 bucks down here, 100 and then 80. So I think it definitely can get down there. It's pretty beat up. That's the only thing that worries me. Any kind of a news of I don't know. I don't know what kind of news they could have. But look at the weekly RSI is at 22. So this one is not one that I love too much. I think I like the other three better: Shop, Coinbase, and Adobe. But it can definitely drop. And then on the daily, I can also see this little um, squeeze indicator is telling me that this is going to drop pretty hard soon. So for this one, probably the realistic goal would be 160, right? Everything else is like, you know, questionable if it can get to like 80 for example, but definitely 160, 150, I think it can get there for sure. All right, so that's what I got for our plan for next week: Adobe, Coin, Shop, and then if those don't end up playing out, we've got QQQ that we can play zero DTEs more carefully. And then I'll go to the trade review, so we can put this Friday past us, right? We don't want to, we know we did bad already, but we also want to check to see why we did bad, right? Oh, and if anybody wants me to check any other names, because I'm only checking a couple, right? Because we can only play a couple names. We can't look at everything. We want to stay laser focused on. It's better if you're familiar with those charts, like for example the ones that I showed. Get familiar with them and then just laser focus on those. So we started off on Friday with AMD. So what did I see with AMD? To be honest, I was setting up my the voice chat. Probably wasn't paying the best attention to what was going on. I was hoping for a bounce in the morning, and I think what I didn't notice or I ignored was, I think all of these trades are pretty much on me, right? Because nobody else pointed them out, um, except for SPX. Maybe somebody else pointed out SPX because I never trade out SPX. So, but yeah. Anyways, this is what I was watching. So I was watching this 104 was a 1 hour support, but I think in the morning I didn't notice that we created another 1 hour. No, I was watching this 1 hour resistance up at 104, and I didn't notice this 1 hour resistance here was created in the aftermarket. So 100 level. All right, and then when we opened, we rejected from it kind of in the morning. So if I go to the 5 minute, um, I guess I wasn't paying attention to the 1 hour is what I'm trying to say. And then in the morning we had this. Well, this is what I was looking at. So you guys know I was looking at support here, so, and then another bounce. And I think this is right when we got in. We did a little choppity chop, and then we just broke down right with QQQ. So we got screwed right there for one. That was one. I was looking at this the opposite way of what it should be. So so we should have got into calls if it broke over 191 cents. So that would have been the call play. But from this, we had to look at it the opposite way. So the support was there. I mean, the resistance was there at 100.91 and should have got into puts up there. All right. Second mistake was not recognizing that and buying puts right away once switching to puts, pretty much switching from calls to puts, right? Even though this one, I mean, it would have paid, but not that much, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, if we would have realized that, we would have gotten up at 100, close to 100, and then that would have been a nice payday, right? But I was kind of looking the wrong way for sure in the morning. Looking at it from the support side, the supports were holding, but this should have been the other way, right? Should have been, okay, we've got a resistance there, another one there, and then our final one that uh, ended breaking everything down was right there. So I guess what I was thinking was QQQ is going to bounce, so this is going to push this up through 100, but obviously that did not happen. All right, so mistake number one, looking the wrong way, maybe not waking up early enough for the kind of day we were gonna have, um, and then not switching to puts on AMD. But AMD was a little stronger. Let's see where it finished. AMD 4% down. Yeah, so it's a little stronger than like Nvidia, for example, which is the same sector. All right, so for QQQ, we had the same thing. And I think looking for the call wasn't necessarily the bad part about Friday. It was more of what we played, right? So we got that little bounce and then a dump, double top. So we got our resistance there, double top, and down we went, same as AMD. All right. right? So at that point, I was like, all right, I don't want to play puts, so I'll just wait for to play calls, which we didn't really wait that much. So let's go to Amazon. So that's what we ended up playing, Amazon. And if you look, where did we get in? We got around 410 for sure, I think. And it didn't really like go down at all. It just like screwed us to the sideways. All right, so I think we got in right around four, not 410, 110. All right, 110, maybe right around here is where we got in. 110, it kept dumping, and pretty much uh, the mistake I made was getting in too early. Should have waited for a better pattern to form. I was just waiting for a 5 minute hold and a trend change. So I thought this would hold and trend change when I should have really, waited. I was a little try to be too aggressive with the trade. I thought this was gonna hold maybe and go to the upside or this wedge that we had going on, but it just dragged on for the whole day pretty much. I think this we had this wedge. I kind of broke down there. On QQQ, it looked a little better. Trend line. So I was like, we're just gonna hold so this can break. It just kept bleeding for like, let's see, 9:20, like 3 hours. It bled our contracts, and then we finally got a relief bounce. But the other mistake was we got 110s, uh, and we should have gotten more in the money. So maybe like 109s. Those would have held their value a little bit better, and maybe could have got out of this at least break even. All right. Number two mistake was SPX, which is way worse than, I mean, Amazon was the worst one for me because I put the most money into it, but SPX would have been way worse if I had held it, just because we had like 4,000, so we were way out of the money. So we needed the bounce to be crazy, which didn't happen. And like when you play those contracts that are far out of the money on zero DTE, you like have to be 100% sure they're gonna bounce like crazy, right? Otherwise, they're just gonna bleed for the whole day. Um, and pretty much that's what happened. We were out of the money. Um, the contracts were too far, and we got in too early. So that was the main mistakes. And I think the last trade that I did for the day, that was the only play that was pretty good. Um, but I think the best thing would have been to just, obviously now we know the best thing would have been to wait for the end of the day and probably not even trade on Friday. Um, or got into puts right away, but I didn't really like them because of the gap down. Um, so yeah, same pattern here on SPY. Falling wedge. This one took a while to play too, but I think I got in right around this little cluster down here at 390. In the money calls. Nice pump up to $4. That's what you want to see. Those calls were like a dollar or something, or $1.70 or $2. So you got $2 to play with. I was actually trying to get to 95, so $5 was the goal, but you always take profit a little earlier. I think I took profit at 3 and then one at 4. So at the end of the day, what I was hoping for or expecting was a bounce, but we got a really weak bounce. and then it just got dumped at the end of the day. So that tells me we're like super weak, that everyone's on one side, everyone's looking at puts. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just look at puts. If the market goes up one day, the whole day, then I guess we won't be trading that day. Um, so yeah, pretty much for this week, I got my watch list. Let's see if anyone else wrote anything, or if anyone's still in here. I guess there's one person. Um, so I'm liking Coinbase, Adobe for earnings play, and then I guess I wanted to talk a little bit about Adobe contracts. So the Adobe contracts, I looked at it the other day. They're around $2 Adobe. I think main plays are gonna be Adobe and Coinbase, maybe Shop. Netflix, I'm not too in love with, but I just threw it in there just in case. So Adobe, it's around 394 right now. Um, and what was the target we were looking at? Adobe 370. Okay, so 370, that gives us $20 profit if it were to go down there. These contracts are pretty expensive, but yeah, I'm thinking, hmm, what was I looking at yesterday? 70. I think I was looking at the 350s, 350 contracts. So if we get a bounce, this will be a lot better, a lot easier. Let's see, Adobe. But what I want to see on Monday is a dump on QQQ SPY. Otherwise, it's going to get a little tricky. Oh, this shit again. Yeah, you see how like here it dumped. Let's see, 426 all the way down to 413, $13 dump. So I'm thinking this is a 5 minute. Let's look at the higher time frames. Yeah, I'm thinking 370, and what I say after that, 350. So I think it can get down to 350 for sure. So I'd like to see a bounce on Adobe so we can get into these contracts like 370s maybe. Get the 370s to drop down like, I don't know, $3 or something. That would be ideal, like 370s. Um, so if it does come down to 350, that would give us $20. So 3 to $20. So that'd be like what? How much percentage? Three. That'd be like 700, 600%, right? If it could come down to 350, which I think it can with the earnings, it could definitely like get a couple days for it to um, recalibrate, maybe fill that gap, and then drop on Wednesday, and then earnings, uh, maybe get a little drop back down here on Wednesday with the Fed, and then a bigger drop with the earnings. That could definitely take it down to 350. It's only what, 40 bucks. It's thinking drop pretty hard. So I'm looking to get 370s. We'll write that down as a plan. 370s around 30 bucks, not 30 bucks, $3. So that's my game plan for that one. And then Coinbase, we'll see, because tomorrow it's going to be a whole different story than what we're seeing now. We're going to have to wait for, see how far it gets down. So that's it for the weekend, guys. Hope you guys had a good weekend, and hopefully this got you guys a little bit ready for the week. I'm hoping for a gap down again, but we'll see what we get. I think we're due for a bounce, so I kind of don't want to see any kind of a stronger bounce, because then that might indicate that we're tightening up on the daily. So I definitely don't want to see that. Um, but we'll take it one day at a time. Definitely only looking for bearish plays, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. All right.